What I'd like to do is blend this front roof awning slope. Once it gets past this gabled end of the building, I'd like to continue that slope up until it intersects with this slope of the main roof here, and then trim that bit of the main roof out. You'll see what I mean if you just sort of stay with me for a little bit. So we need to change to the roof layer, so drop down your set current layer drop down list and change to roof, and while you're in the roof layer, pick up your pencil. I want to draw a line from this end point of the awning roof, so I'll click there to set that up as the start point of the roof. Now I'm going to initially hover over this top edge of the building, and while I'm hovering on that edge, I'll press and hold the shift key. By pressing and holding the shift key, I am constraining that line to follow that direction of that edge that we set up. So while I'm doing that, if I then constrain that and then touch this edge of the main roof and click, I've now drawn a line which was constrained along that slope and carried on until it intersected with the top plane. Okay, so that's what SketchUp people call constraining and inferencing. So you're constraining something to one direction and then inferring that until it intersects with another direction. So I'm going to do something like that once again. Now I'm going to hover till I'm looking at something like this end of the building, to orbit round like that. And while I'm on the roof layer still, I'm going to draw another line now from this end point that we just created. I'm going to, I'll just let that go, so I'll undo. I'm going to click from that end point. I'm going to drag the line back until it's going in the red axis direction, so make sure it says red, and while it's in the red axis direction, I will press and hold the shift key to constrain it to the red axis direction, but then come down and click on top of this gabled end of the building. So that will take a line back perfectly in the red axis direction until it hits the plane of this wall. So we constrain it on that red axis direction until it intersects with that plane, and click. So we should be able to then, I think, if I've done everything right, I've got to remember, of course, that this roof is 10 millimeters away from the other roof, and in fact I want to do the same thing again, but I'll close this up to start with. So I think to do that I might create a construction line. So I'll go and grab my tape measure, and I'll click my tape measure along this edge that we just created, and I'm going to pull that back until it's in line with that end point up there. And it's actually reading 3150, which is what we'd expect we really want it to do. But before I do, actually I want to pull that 10 millimeters away. So what I'll do is, remembering it was 3150, I think I might pull it out until it's in the red direction and type 3140. So that will fall 10 millimeters short now of hitting the actual wall surface, because I'd like to make these awning roofs not intersect with the main roof of the main wall of the building. So that means I need to move the end point, so I'll go back to my move command, and I need to move the end point of this line, that end point, back until it stays on line in the red direction, so I can press and hold the shift key until it constrains and touches that line there. So I've moved that end point of that line back so that it's actually 3140 away from the edge of the roof, not 3150. So it'll actually be 10 millimeters short of actually touching this wall face here. So to finish that off now, I think I'll grab my line tool again, my little pencil, and I'll go very carefully. There'll be an intersection. If you zoom up a real lot, you'll notice it should not intersect with the edge of the wall. because we're not actually lining up, but this construction line will actually intersect with the edge of the roof. So I'm going to go from that intersection there up to this end point up here, and that should have finished off and made a roof face for me. So I'll grab my eraser tool and I'll actually erase that line now, and I can then actually probably tidy up some of these other roof shapes as well. What I might do, an easier way to tidy up the main roof, is if I go back to the select tool, if I select maybe this whole face, might be an easy way of doing it. So that little bit of face there, if I select that, go to the move tool, but before I use the move tool, let's click and release the control key, which changes it to copy. And if I copy from that endpoint up to that endpoint that we've just created, I think I should now be able to go to my select and select some of these edges of this roof and delete them. I'm only deleting the top edges at this stage because I think I still need that bottom face left turned on. So I've started to delete some of that roof so that we end up with this continuation of the awning roof going up until it intersects with this other roof plane coming back in the other direction. So we simply need to sort of continue that same sort of construction methodology to the bottom face of the roof as well. So I might start trying to do that by drawing a line from this end point down here, coming back along that edge and pressing and holding the shift key until I click up on this edge here, so that I construct a whole new fascia, if you like, that extends right through. Now that might even be the easiest way. We might be able to use the push-pull tool now to push-pull that surface back a little bit. I'll show you what I mean by the push-pull tool. You can even do it from this face, I think, a little bit. If we start to just have a look what's happening through there. That should be alright. Yep, so if we start to push-pull back in that direction a bit, and if I actually push-pull that back until it comes to that construction line that we've created, it's limiting it to 3140, which is great anyway. Click on that line. I think we've actually done most of the bottom face, and for some reason I've lost the top edge now too, but that doesn't matter. So I think I might try. Let's have a look at what happens if we start selecting this face here and deleting it. Yep, looks like we're tidying things up fairly nicely. We've got a little bit messy happening around this edge, but that'll be alright. We'll be able to delete that top surface if that's what happened to you as well. And then I might just finish off that edge again. I might even actually delete this one. So I've temporarily opened up the whole top surface of my roof. But then all I need to do, probably, I'm hoping, is grab my line pen and draw one of those lines back in again. And as drawing one line back in again, it then found all the other connecting lines on the same plane, and it tidied that up to be one construction plane again. So we've now just got a little bit of tidying up with our eraser to do in a few spots. Just orbit underneath this roof and see what else has got to be done. That one there, that one left from the post there before also, and also I want to tidy this one up so it becomes a nice clean fascia joint. Okay, so that's got that end of the building almost sorted out, except in keeping with everything we've done so far, we've got a 10mm overhang on this little bit of roof here at the moment. Just to be in keeping with everything we've constructed so far, I want to extend that out to be a 150mm overhang. So if I grab my push-pull tool and push-pull this surface here out another 140, so I'm letting go and typing 140 and pressing enter, that would give me a total of a 150mm overhang on that roof edge there. And I've just got to pick up my eraser again to get rid of that construction line, and that's looking fairly tidy at this